Hello again folks, and welcome to Black Bear Outdoors on this weird snowy day. Today we're talking pistols, and in particular the legendary Sig Sauer P226. Sig Sauer is referred to as one of the more higher end manufacturers of firearms, and they're normally mentioned in the same vein as H&K, for example. They're the love child of a Swiss company and a German company in the 1970s, and they've been making quality firearms ever since. They've also been awarded contracts by the US military recently for the M17 sidearm as well as the new squad automatic weapon. But that's a video for another day. The Sig P226 was developed as an entrant to the XM9 trials that the US military held in roughly about 1984, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And that was to replace the 1911 as the standard issue sidearm for the US military. The military was looking for a pistol with a higher capacity, chambered in 9mm, and with a boatload of other features. Now, rumor has it that only two pistols went through all their rigorous testing, one being the Sig P226 and the other being the Beretta 92. Now, as you can imagine, with the military contracts, cost is a big factor, and they did decide on the Beretta 92 as the standard sidearm. Now, that was later known as the M9, and it has served the US military for decades as a fantastic sidearm, until recently when there was a new trial held. US Special Operations, and especially the Navy SEALs, decided to go for the Sig P226 instead, and the legend was born. Since then, it's been used by militaries across the world, as well as law enforcement. And a few notable mentions, obviously down in the States, it's the Navy SEALs on the military side. And on the law enforcement side, you're looking at the Texas Rangers. Closer to home, certain units of the Canadian Armed Forces use the Sig P226, as well as the RCMP's ERT. The Sig P226 also came in a bunch of configurations since then, from the high-end Legion to nickel-plated ones to the Mark 25. That's actually supposed to be a clone of the Navy SEAL version, complete with the little anchor on it and the phosphated innards to protect it against salt water. But that's not the one we went for. We went for the standard issue, pretty much the most basic version that you could find, which is the Sig P226R Nitron. We did that on purpose because originally we wanted to get a pistol as a trainer on double action, single action triggers. Now, you do get ones with a short reset trigger and so on. We didn't opt for that because we didn't want any help, and we wanted to make our training a bit more challenging. So guys, what we're going to be doing next is we're going to take it into the table, take a look at what it's got, and then we'll take it out to the range and see how well it performs. Alright guys, now that we have the P226 on the table here, let's take a quick look at what it's got. So firstly, the frame is aluminum and it's hard coat anodized. The slide is made of stainless steel, and that has a Nitron finish. Now that's also where it gets its name. You'll see with the R designation, the 226R, it just pretty much means that it has a rail, an accessory rail underneath there. I hope you can see that. So you can mount a light or a laser or something on there, right? Depending on what you feel like doing, or a shark, whatever. So you'll notice that it has a 4.4-inch barrel, so it's not a tiny little gun. It's a duty-sized pistol. I quite like the grips that it's got on here. You can see it's got a kind of a sandpapery kind of feel to it. It's pretty aggressive, but it's not kind of cheese grater aggressive, so I quite like it. It fits nicely in your hands, nice and ergonomic. Also like the grip angle. The pistol is obviously a double action, single action pistol, which means is when you pull the trigger, the hammer is going to come back and forward again to hit the firing pin on your first trigger pull. After that, you're going to go into single action, where the hammer will be back and keeps going forward and resets itself as the slide moves back and forth. We'll demonstrate that in a minute. You'll notice it's got its mag release in the kind of standard US spot that you'd expect, and it's got slide release right here. And something that I quite like is the decocker that it's got right here. I'll show you how that works. When the pistol is cocked like that, ready to fire, and you would like to decock it, you just pull down on this lever and release it, and there's your pistol decocked, back in double action mode. The sight setup here is a normal 3-dot sight, as you can see. This does come with the Sig Light night sights, and they really do light up well in dark areas. So that's a pretty neat feature too. Let's take a look at the trigger pull. So just so you know, this gun has been cleared and it's pointed in a safe direction, and we don't have any ammo around when we look at guns on the table here. So firstly, the double action trigger pull. Like we said before, what's going to happen is the hammer is going to come back and then slam forward onto the firing pin, right? So that's about a 10-pound trigger pull. So it's pretty heavy, and there we go, right? So once you fired your first shot and it goes into single action mode, the slide moves backward like this, and there you go. That's single action. So now it's ready. If you look at the trigger pull, it's got a little bit of a sloppy uptake there, and then nice and crisp, about 4 pounds. So now you fired your round, slide cycles. Let's see what the reset looks like. There's the reset. A little bit of uptake again. Nice and crisp trigger. I quite like the trigger. Double action, single action trigger. The single action is obviously much lighter than your double action. Again, we got this as a trainer on double action triggers, and I fell in love with this gun. It's a really, really nice one. Again, let's show you the... So if it's cocked like that, you can decock it. A lot of people in a law enforcement capacity, for example, will carry with a round in the chamber. Lots of civilians in the US who are allowed to do that as well. So what would happen is you would rack the firearm, round into the chamber, decock it, and it's ready to carry and fire in double action mode. So double action is very useful for that kind of setting because of the fact that you have to have a deliberate trigger pull to make that shot. So it's kind of a safety feature by itself. It doesn't have any external safeties, which we prefer because this is your safety, right? Okay, you'll also notice that the night sights have a nice and square kind of ledge there. It's not very tapered. So the benefit of that is if you are forced to be able to only use your handgun with one hand, you're able to rack it off a belt or off a shoe or something like that, right? If you only have one hand available to you. Breaking it down for cleaning is very, very easy as well. You just lock the slide back. Again, you can see it's cleared. You tilt the takedown lever to the 6 o'clock position, and it comes right off. So according to Sig, all the internals are coated with a corrosion resistant compound. It's not the same as you would get on the Mark 25 version, which is obviously the official Navy SEAL copy. They have a special super duper made out of the sweat of Navy SEALs coating that's going to protect it against salt water and stuff like that. This one not so much, but you can get it wet if you need to. And putting it back together again, just lock your slide back once more, put that back in its original position, and you're good to go. Function check. Yep, absolutely fine. So that's enough jibber jabber from me. Let's take her out to the range and see how well she runs. First up, guys, we're going to test out a couple of different mags. Now, Mike over at Mr. Guns and Gear really likes the Mekgar mags for these pistols, and we're going to put that to the test. I must say, I kind of agree with him. Their operation is a little bit smoother. They don't need a very hard smack on the bottom to kind of seat properly, and it seems like they feed the first round off the mag better than the Sig Sauer mags. This could be just because of stiff springs, but you be the judge. Because of its weight and the way it's designed, this pistol really mitigates recoil quite well. And even somebody with a smaller frame like Mrs. Bear was able to comfortably and accurately shoot this pistol. Transitions is very, very easy with this pistol, and even at range we were able to get some really good A-zone or combat effective hits with it. Now guys, we put a lot of rounds through this pistol, and even when it got all carboned up and it got warm and dirty, the ejection pattern stayed very, very positive, and it had zero failures whatsoever of any kind. So there you have it, folks. That's the Sig P226. Our final thoughts on it: we think it's a fantastic pistol. It really does live up to the hype. As a duty pistol, if I was in the position to choose one and it's a double action, single action, definitely this would be it. It is a great gun for just taking out to the range, even teaching new shooters about double action, single actions. As a home defense pistol for the guys down in the States, also an excellent choice. Plus, as a bonus, it makes you 16.3% more Navy SEAL. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, please hit that subscribe button on the next screen. It looks like a black bear badge. Give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment, and we'll try and get to those as soon as possible. See you next time.